We got a whole bunch more of Eagles off-season talk coming to you tonight. We got a couple little rumors. We got a trade suggestion, which I'm going to go absolutely insane about. We got some good news regarding the offensive line, and we're going to discuss the state of the offensive line as a whole. So kick back, relax on this Friday night because another episode of Birds of the Gridiron starts right now. God damn it, still the best intro in the freaking business. I am going to stick to that every single day that we do this show. Welcome in, everybody, back to another episode of Birds of the Gridiron, live here on Facebook, YouTube, only here on 609 Sports Talk Radio, bringing you guys the best Eagles off-season coverage there is. We keep it real. We keep it realistic. We don't say stupid crap. We're not talking about A.J. Brown every freaking week. We did that last week. So, as always, Sam Nelson, Tyler Adams. Tyler, how are we on this rainy Friday, preparing us for another snowy Monday?
Well, enjoy the rainy day to wash away all the snow in preparation to get some more.
Yeah,
But
basically just
I'm ready for the weekend. Enjoy the 2 days off. See what happens Sunday. But I know one thing for sure. We'll still be here Monday night.
Of course. Why would we not be? We're always here for the people. So look, shorter episode this week. We got a couple things to talk about, and we're going to jump right into it. Tyler, we did get some good news this week. We actually got some good news regarding the Eagles' offensive line. Lane Johnson officially announced yesterday he will be returning to the team for his 14th season. As we know, Lane left the Lions game last year with that Lisfranc injury. He apparently told Jeff McClain he didn't want to go out, and that being his lasting memory with the team. Another big one, according to Derek Gunn, despite the fact that he was going through some health issues of his own throughout 2025, Landon Dickerson will also be back for 2026. Dickerson was also contemplating a possibility of retiring, but the 27-year-old Pro Bowl guard will return to the team. Tyler, how do you feel about the current state of the Eagles' offensive line now compared to, I'll just say, a week ago? I won't even go far back at the end of the
We'll just
season.
say a week ago.
We'll just go a week ago.
I want to start off with Dickerson because I feel like there is more to unpack with Lane Johnson. Landon Dickerson, hopefully, we know, you could tell that his level of play was down and he was limited. He was always going through something the whole year. Never did I think that it was something severe enough and mentally draining enough that he would contemplate retiring to preserve his health, which I never fault any player for if they decide to do so. But hopefully, with this extra time to rest, not going on a Super Bowl run, hopefully he's able to heal his body more. Hopefully this offseason's kinder to him, and he can train and get back to that Pro Bowl left guard that we know he can be. That player that we saw coming out of Alabama. But when we move over to Lane Johnson, the Liz Frank injury, people thought he was going to be able to rush back, make it in time for the playoffs. Didn't happen. I didn't want it to happen. I mean, all we would have needed was for him to re aggravate that even further in a playoff game. That might have been his last game of his career at that point. So he took the time. He's trying to fully rehab it. But man, Lane Johnson is how old now?
36.
35. He might be turning 36 soon. He's still 35. Hall of Famer. Going down toward the tail end of his career. I can't help but think, what does this injury do for him? A guy who's struggled with playing through injuries throughout his career, whether it be those high ankle sprains, you name it. I feel like he's always got something going on. What level of play do we get out of him? How many games do we get him? Is it something that he might be good for a little bit and it might re-aggravate? Or do we see another injury pop up? I just think of all the possibilities because he's not a young guy anymore. I'm saying confusion.
No. Are you done, or do you still have something to go for?
No, I'm not. I'm still going. But were you reacting to something that I said, or do you have something?
Oh no, I'll let you finish, then I'll go because.
Okay. Anyways, I'm gonna turn your camera off over there, buddy.
Go right ahead.
He's not getting any younger. He's shown the toughness to be able to play through injuries in the past. But when it is something like that Liz Frank injury, we don't even know if it's fully healed. He's not going to play. He's not going to play a full game of football until next year.
He said, as of right now, it is about 100% healed. You do not ever come back from a Liz Frank injury during the season. It's borderline impossible.
But that also ties in to the offensive line as a whole, which that's where your main question was. Yes, I am more confident in this offensive line than I was a week ago. Because getting a veteran like him back, getting a Hall of Fame player like him back is huge. Getting a Pro Bowler and Landon Dickerson back is huge. Now we can pump the brakes more on the, oh my gosh, we're desperate. We need to go out and draft offensive line the first 2 rounds. I still think we should address it in the first or second round. But maybe it's not something as aggressive. Obviously, we need to draft the lane replacement. That needs to happen in this year's draft. And you need to try and draft some depth to think about. Well, for one, we don't know what's going on with right guard. We're probably going to have to hit the free agent market for right guard. And then you have Landon Dickerson, who he's probably only 1 year. If he has more injuries that nag him the whole year, he might just call it quits. He might hang it up.
I don't disagree with that.
But on the other hand, of me feeling more confident, there is still the fear of the injuries. And also the transition to the new offensive line coach. And this is just overall for the whole offensive line. This isn't for any individual player. I mean, like we said before, no one is ever going to fill his shoes. I don't expect our offensive line to go, middle of the pack in the league just because of the change. But I also am not fully expecting them to be within that dominant top five amongst the league.
Okay. You're starting off this episode way too negative for me.
Good.
And I could have understood the negativity if he announced he was retiring. Do I have to bring up the numbers when Lane Johnson plays versus the numbers when he doesn't? And here's the thing. I'm not worried. Again, I said this last week about Chris Cooper. Nobody is going to be Jeff Statlin, even if he is a good offensive line coach here. For everyone to say, oh, he sucked in Minnesota. The same Minnesota Vikings that just fired their GM because he was such an awesome guy at evaluating talent. That guy was what Chris Cooper was working with compared to the guy who runs the ship here. Nobody in the fans' eyes will ever be Stoutland. I don't think it's realistic to ever think there will be another Jeff Stoutland in this city. It's impossible.
Yeah, no.
But don't you feel better about the off? And first of all, this is important for the entire offensive coaching staff. Not only do we have a whole new offensive coaching staff coming in this year, now we have to worry about no Lane Johnson, no Landon Dickerson. At least right now. At worst, you're going into next year with the same starting five you had last year, which is not a bad thing.
I
Because,
get
again,
that.
the only problem last year was they were not healthy.
I get that. And that's why I did start off with saying I am more confident. But you just reiterated my point right there. Last year, they could not stay healthy. It's not the first time some of these guys dealt with injuries. Not the first time Landon's dealt with injuries.
It won't be the last time Landon's dealt with injuries, honestly, if we're being
So
honest.
we don't all we know is that we're gonna have our starting five. Well, we still don't know who the starting right guard is gonna be, but we have our main guys who are going to start the season healthy. That's all we know at this point. We don't know how long that'll last for. If any of them will ever miss time next season, we don't know any of that. They could all play all 17 games. But that's really where my main concern is.
Yes. But the point I'm trying to make here is it's important that this team now goes with this offensive coaching staff coming in. And this comment, Steen is serviceable.
Steen is not serviceable. Steen
Yes,
is a
he's
good backup.
Steen was better than your other two interior guys last year.
I would hope so. He's healthier than them. Give them the healthy body of Steen. You got two more Pro Bowlers right there again.
Tyler Steen was not close to the problem on that offensive line last year. The offensive line's issue last year was the fact that the left guard was so hurt and the center was so banged up that they became turnstiles. And then, of course, Lane goes down against Detroit. And I mean, look, to be fair, Fred Johnson is what he is.
He's a good backup.
He's a very serviceable backup, but that's all he is.
Steen's not a starter. You could say he wasn't the problem. Okay, that's fine. In my eyes, still not a starter.
Steen is an average, serviceable starter in certain situations.
The dominant offensive line that Philly fans have come to know and love, Tyler Steen does not do it justice. Can you agree with that?
Yes, but you are aware that they have had a new right guard almost every year. So
I do.
stop acting like Tyler Steen was replacing Brandon Brooks. Like Brandon Brooks was the last multi-year starter at that position.
I get that.
Isaac
That's why I
Sayamalo looks
also,
pretty average too now that he's in Pittsburgh.
yeah, he definitely he was a player who looked better with the guys that were around him.
So same thing could go for the guy that was there last year too, who's about to get cut.
Yeah,
Now, look, if you want to say let's look for the long-term answer at that position, that's fine. But also, is it really fair to judge Tyler Steen off the fact that the two guys that he is supposed to be playing in the middle of were not healthy? I mean, yeah, Tyler Steen looks like crap when Fred Johnson plays next to him. I'd like to see Mekhi Becton if Fred Johnson played next to him for that many games. Let's see how good Mekhi really was. The problem is that the offensive line this past year, three guys were not healthy. Jurgens, Dickerson, and Lane. Mailata, I don't know if he was banged. I mean, he even said everyone's banged up. So Mailata was even banged up. Even Steen got banged up. Remember, he hurt his knee in the Tampa game. Now,
yeah,
it didn't seem like he missed any time because of it, but I'm looking at it more of you have a new offensive coaching staff coming in, new offensive coordinator, new pass game coordinator, new run game coordinator, new offensive line coach. The way I'm looking at it is you need stability on that side of the football when you have a new staff coming over. Unless, the staff wants to bring some, like, for some reason, they keep linking the Eagles to Romeo Dobbs, which why they're doing it, I have no idea. I mean, if as a wide receiver 3, I may be for that, actually, because we actually are in the market for a wide receiver 3 because ours is a free agent. But you have the best right tackle in football, which, by the way, yes, he is the best right tackle in football. I watched plenty of Penei Sewell get spun around this year to confirm that he is the best right tackle in football. Penei Sewell, easily the second best. No, hands down. He is not Lane Johnson. That debate has been squashed. Don't ever speak to me about it again.
no, he's not.
And I love Penei. I love the Lions O-line. I love Penei Sewell. I love those guys. But
The
they're
only
not
thing
Lane
Sewell
Johnson.
has going for him is playing more games.
Yeah, but their trajectories are different. Lane's
Yeah,
been playing since 2013,
I know.
and he still plays at a top tier level when he's out there. This does still, even with Lane Johnson coming back for this year, this still does not change my opinion of I am taking a tackle in round 1 or an offensive lineman. I mean, if one of the guards are there, do you take one? Do you take his successor in the first round? Apparently, there's a lot of pretty good ones. You got the 2 kids out of Utah. You got the kid out of Georgia. You got Blake Miller out of Clemson. You have guys that are going to be there. So, I mean, you could take the guard from Penn State or the guard from Oregon are there. You could take them, and there's Tyler Steen's replacement. But what are you
Yeah.
more worried about right now? Let me ask you this. This is the perfect question to ask. Are you more worried about Tyler Steen getting another year as a starter or Lane Johnson getting hurt again?
Lane getting hurt again, obviously.
Okay. I'm just asking because I'm all for if you want to take a guard in the first round. If they're there, fine. But you have to think this is probably this. I can probably 98% say this is Lane's last year.
Oh yeah.
I think this is actually going to be Lane's last season. I don't think Lane comes back after 2026. Mm-hmm. So
I think that's without saying.
I am prioritizing that position in the first round. I don't want to hear anything else about it. I understand some people don't like the draft and stash guys, but here's the thing. Now I'm getting a kid to sit behind a first ballot Hall of Fame. Well, actually, wait. Let me hold off on that because first ballot Hall of Famer in the NFL now. I don't know what that is.
It's changed, so you never know.
the kid, whoever they draft in the first round, will have a chance to sit behind the best right tackle of his time and learn from him for a year. Why was Cam Jurgens so good in 2024? Granted, yes, he was healthy. Last year he wasn't. We get that. He got to sit behind and play next to Jason Kelsey. In 2022, when they drafted him, didn't play much. In 2023, he started next to Jason. He learned everything from Jason.
All right. So what I'm going to be looking at for my draft tape is any projected first or second round offensive linemen who have played both right tackle and right guard throughout their career. Because if you draft his replacement, guess what? Tyler Steen, get on the bench, start him next to him.
You could. I mean,
if they find a guy like that in the first round, I feel like you would have to start him next to him. But only if they are able to, like comfortable, because not everyone can just go from playing tackle to guard.
No. Now, the one that would make some sense for that is Caden Proctor, but a lot of NFL analysts have him long term as a guard because he does not have the longest arms, and I'm not about to go through another Will Campbell situation.
Didn't it come out that Will Campbell was playing through a knee injury?
Yes, I didn't mean it. No, I didn't mean it like that. I mean it as I don't need to listen to 1,000 people talk about the arm length of somebody. Okay.
Hey, if I get that level of play the whole season, sign me up.
Look, where I'm at with this is that I am, and like I said, I am more concerned about Landon Dickerson. I'm hoping this is him saying, you know, I've sat here for a few weeks. My body feels good. I've had extended rest because I didn't play in a Super Bowl this year. Because people need to understand it wasn't just the wear and tear last year. Landon Dickerson got hurt in the NFC Championship game. And it took a lot for him and Cam Jurgens to both play. Cam Jurgens did not start the NFC title game, if we remember. His back was that bad that he did not start. He had to come in because Landon got hurt. So I will never have a bad thing to say about those two, even though they were banged up last year. Those two gave everything they had for that Super Bowl. And I'll never say a bad thing about either of them. If I could, I'd buy Landon another lawnmower. Nice old John Deere. But I am more confident about the offensive line because now it's not like, okay, we have to draft two guys that have to be starters day one.
Yeah.
Now, could they still address adding to the interior and free agency? Absolutely. I mean, there's a 3-time Pro Bowler in Cleveland that's hitting the market. Wyatt Teller. That seems like a Howie move right there. That's a guy I keep my eye on. But no, I'm still taking a tackle in the first round because you have to prepare for Lane to leave. I feel like it's like when they restructure Lane's contract. You just keep kicking it down the road. Eventually, you're going to kick the can down the road and it's going to fall off the cliff into the ocean. And you were close to kicking it down that cliff this offseason. Another thing I would still also do, even if they draft a tackle, I would still try to see if I could ink Fred Johnson as something amongst the lines of like a 2-year contract.
Yeah, I would love to see him sign a 2-year contract for a respectable amount for being a backup tackle.
Well, because that's the thing, right? Now, let's just say they take the kid out of Georgia. I think of Monroe Freeling. He is positioned to be my right tackle of the future. Well, okay, I need a swing tackle. I'm not making a rookie a swing tackle. I need a veteran who's done it. Fred Johnson, honestly, could be a better swing tackle than most in the league. So,
yeah,
I am okay with bringing Fred back. Another
I
one that's
worry that other teams might value him as well and try to offer him more money than the Eagles.
Yeah, well, look what happened last year. He got offered more money than the Eagles last year, and the Eagles ended up trading back for him.
Yeah.
Another key one that's a free agent is Brett Toth, who, as much as we like to make our jokes about Brett Toth, he actually did play solid last year when he was called upon. And then the other top reserve offensive lineman who's a free agent is Matt Pryor, but I think we can agree Matt Pryor can go as
Yeah,
far away
he
from
can go.
my football team as
He can
possible.
go. Toth is serviceable as a rotational interior O
Yeah.
lineman.
He can play because he can play center, he can play both guard spots. He's a very pivotal piece.
Yeah.
But that's another thing. I know we're talking about maybe offensive linemen as full-time starters for next year. Like you said, we don't what happens if Landon gets hurt next year? If Landon gets hurt again, he's gonna retire.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, Cam Jurgens, we have to see what happens with him. I mean, he was banged up too. Now, apparently, did you see the reports? He went to Colombia and had a bunch of like a health reset.
No.
He had like some stem cell thing done. He's working hard to get healthy for next year.
Oh wow.
So the hope is that Cam will be healthy. The only thing that I'm not worried about Lane Johnson. Lane Johnson you'll have to literally cut Lane's legs off for him not to play a football game.
As long as he's healthy, I should say healthy enough to take the field. Because we've seen him still be the best right tackle in the league playing with a sprained ankle.
He was the best tackle in the league last year, and he was getting stingers every other week. But where I'm at with this is that I'm hoping Landon Dickerson is coming back because his body feels that it can come back and not him trying to push himself to play. Because you heard the reports last year with Jason Kelsey on WIP saying Landon could barely walk half of last season.
Yeah.
And that's why I think but I still think this is an advantage for Sean Mannion and Chris Cooper, the new offensive line coach. You don't have to, you still have to be concerned because outside of the current five, I'm perfectly okay with the current five as constructed. I'm worried about behind them because Fred Johnson, we just brought him up as a free agent. Brett Toth is a free agent. Matt Pryor is a free agent. We don't have a lot of depth there. And I'm not saying I know Howie went late last year, but right now your top reserve offensive lineman is Drew Kendall. And I don't want to make that sound like a knock because I actually think Drew Kendall could be a really good player. I think he could possibly carve out a role on this team. But we drafted Cameron Williams and Miles Hinton out of Texas and Michigan last year, thinking Stoutland would develop them. Well, Stoutland ain't here anymore. So,
yeah,
in my opinion, the days of the late round linemen, unless they're the best player on the board, are over. You have to get guys in those first 3 to 4 rounds that you think, okay, we could start this guy within the first 5 to 6 weeks of the season. Like you have to start getting more established offensive line talent.
Really lucky and find a hit, but that's why Stoutland. I'll go one further than just saying he will be the best offensive line coach that the Eagles will ever see. I think he's the best offensive line coach the NFL will ever see.
Don't disagree with you. I don't. Because he's been so pivotal to this team's success.
Yeah.
Over the years. I mean, the guy survived. I mean, again, we said it last week. The guy survived 3 coaching staffs.
Yeah. I mean, it did kind of sting when you brought up Cam Williams because he was one of those players, and he still could be. High ceiling, a lot of potential, but most draft experts said if he went back to Texas for one more year and came out in this year's draft, he'd probably go in the first round.
Yeah.
But he chose to bet on himself, came out early, and we ended up taking him late in the draft as a developmental piece. And I don't know how much development he got out of the 1 year with Stoutland. Who knows? But maybe, even having Lane back this year, maybe that might help a mentor to him a little bit.
Yeah. And I mean, some of the guys that you're looking at for tackle options in this year's draft, right around that pick 23. I don't know if Spencer Fano is going to be there from Utah. I think Caleb Lamo, who is his opposite tackle, could be there. You've got Monroe Freeling from Georgia, who I got to start looking at my draft stuff, but I actually really like him a lot. Blake Miller out of Clemson is pretty damn solid. Isaiah World was high up on boards in the second round, but he tore his ACL, we found out, against Indiana. So we don't know what his health status will be heading into the combine and all that stuff. Caden Proctor from Alabama is a guy that I don't freaking kid's a mammoth of a man. He's like 6'7", 360. But he's got shorter arms. It doesn't seem like he's going to translate into the NFL as a starting tackle. So the only knock on Monroe Freeling is he doesn't have the starting experience. I think he was only a full-time starter this year, but he was outstanding. And if people just say he seems like a Howie pick. Like, I'll warn people, when we do the NFL draft shows, I'm warning all Eagle fans, it's going to be a boring first-round pick. You're going to get a tackle.
You're going to get something that isn't flashy, but it is extremely valuable to the team's overall success.
Well, first of all, we know one thing. Howie Roseman don't care about boring or exciting. He is never, ever going to let his trenches become a weakness.
Mm-hmm.
They build the trenches on both sides of the football every year.
Andre Dillard.
Yeah, but see, here's the thing. Andre Dillard was a bad pick strictly because the Eagles never even met with him before the draft.
Yeah.
He was the most talented tackle on the board, but the problem was the Eagles never met him. They didn't expect him to be there, and they still took
him for the wow factor of, oh, you're still here? You didn't get drafted yet?
Yeah.
And that's what the biggest problem was.
But again, those are the draft mistakes Howie made that he has learned from. Notice something. Almost every Eagles draft pick over the past, I'd say at least 5 years, they all took top 30 visits with the Eagles. They don't do that anymore. Howie Roseman, I have got to say, from 2017 to 2020, was one of the worst drafters in the NFL. I will comfortably say it. Of course, it goes back to the J.J. Arcega-Whiteside pick. It goes back to Jalen Reagor. The entire situation was a complete mess. But he's learned from those mistakes, and they've gotten better because of it.
Yep. He's watched more SEC football, so like you said, it's going to take the kid from Georgia.
He's watched a ton of SEC football.
The Philly Bulldogs.
I'm not sure. We haven't really taken a lot of Georgia offensive players, though.
Hey, there's no time like the present.
That is true. But no, I still think the offensive line needs to be addressed, whether it's in free agency and the draft. I can make the case for both.
I think we see both.
Let me just a word to the people. He wants them to draft a tackle, but he does not want to see Tyler Steen starting at right guard in 2026. Let me just put that out there right now.
Howie Rosen, I don't know how you do it, but get Wyatt Teller and draft a tackle.
You get Wyatt Teller, you may have the best O-line in football next year. All right, so I think we've kind of knocked out the state of the O-line in a half hour. That's actually pretty impressive.
Yeah. And see, there was more positivity from me, okay? I just had to show my concerns first. You know, I can't just sit here and act like everything's all sunshine and roses.
Now, let's get to the last little couple things we have on the agenda tonight. Like we said, short episode this week, guys. I'm not talking about AJ Brown this week. I was scrolling through the old Twitter timeline a couple days ago, and I follow this person on Twitter. He goes by the name of Eagles Eric, and I usually don't like to bring up names because I don't like to be that guy, but I got to do this. He goes by his Twitter handle, which is Eagles X's and O's. He's a good follow. Completely lost me this week. I am not advocating this to any extent, but you can make a strong case for the Philadelphia Eagles to consider Trading. Dear God, help me for what I'm about to say. You can make a strong case for the Eagles to consider trading Jalen Carter. Here's the points he brought up, and my co-host is left. No. You got to hear the points here before you can do it. Before you can respond. With 2 years left of team control left on his contract, he could likely fetch 2 first-round picks or a star player plus a pick in return. Number 2, his trade leverage will diminish once he needs a new contract. Thank you, Captain Obvious. Number 3, the Eagles will have very little negotiating power in an extension, and he will likely get overpaid. His conditioning and injury could be lingering in terms to his and lingering issues. And when he's out of shape or hurt, he's barely a net positive impact. Still draws doubles, but doesn't have the reps where he is a but does have reps where he is a statue. Number 5, trading him would create significant future cap room to get back into the free agent market and extend many other players, including Jordan Davis and Moro Ajomo. I want you to completely go off on this one, but I have to say, just at the end, why do you think Jordan Davis and Moro Ajomo had the fucking seasons that they had this past year?
Wow, Sam, where do I start?
You could go right ahead, baby. I'm chilling. I'm going to sit
Where do I
back.
start? I think not what triggered me the most, what confused me the most was toward the end, where they can save more money to spend in free agency. Hello, do you not realize that this team's success came from building through the draft? What do we want? More free agent money to go out and try to convince players to come here, when the success that we've garnered has been from doing well in the draft, growing these players in the organization.
See, my bigger one was he's likely to get overpaid.
Now, I don't think that's outrageous. I don't want to call it an overpayment, but easily I think he resets the market for D tackles.
That's how the NFL is, though. Every single time someone signs, the market gets. But hold on, let me ask you this: how many defensive tackles are better than Jalen Carter?
Defensive tackles, maybe 2 or 3. My names I would put out there are Chris Jones, Dexter Lawrence, and I don't even think they're that much better than him.
I literally am sitting in a world where in the past 2 weeks we have considered trading Jalen Carter, and we're still talking about trading A.J. Brown. Guys, they went 11-6 last year. Guys, they went 11-6 last year, not 2-15. And like I say, people bring up like, oh, you got to pay this guy and this guy. Do you understand why half the Eagles' defensive line has the success that they have? Do you understand why Milton Williams got $100 million from the Patriots last year? Do you understand why Jordan Davis is going to get it? Well, now, hold on. I'm not trying to knock him. You want to talk about someone that's probably going to get overpaid?
I'm glad you went there before I did, because I was going to say, if it comes to a point where we pay Jalen Carter, but we just don't have enough to bring back Jordan Davis, I love Jordan Davis.
Well, Davis is up first. That's the problem. Davis needs a deal now.
Great player. He's an entertainer. great personality. But if I have to prioritize and the money just can't work, I'm sorry, but Jordan Davis, he's got to go. Jordan Davis is not Jalen Carter. What was the one thing that he did say in that tweet? He still garners double teams. Why do you think that is? Because he is one of the biggest threats when he's out there on the field. And the second that you forget about him, forget about it. It's too late. That's the type of player that he is. How many times do you see Jordan Davis getting double teamed? When Jalen Carter, if he, let's say the couple of games he missed last year, didn't look like he was
Not
getting
much.
double teamed a lot to me.
Look how bad the Eagles' pass rush was when Jalen Carter was off the field.
And that's the problem, is people like to look at the sack number as a statistic for success with these defensive tackles.
Not everyone's Aaron Donald.
Yeah, not everyone's Aaron Donald. Jalen Carter's,
Impact,
I would say, a different player than Aaron Donald.
Yeah, no,
because I don't think we will ever see Jalen Carter at the level that Aaron Donald was at.
We're not ignorant enough to say that.
But to tell me that it's the best idea to trade him away now for the prospect of 2 first-round picks, freeing up money for free agents, I don't give a damn. Because with the picks that we do have, we'll still be able to go out and strengthen the defensive line, because you're not having to look for that generational disruptive player on your D-line, because you already have him. Jalen Carter is the focal point that you build around. You don't look to save money with Jalen Carter. You pay him what he's worth, and you build around him.
And again, the whole overpay thing, I get where they're coming from with it. But again, everybody in the NFL is overpaid, because every single time an extension is signed, the market gets reset. It's just the common denominator of football. Someone's going to reset the market, and someone's going to do it 10 minutes later. I'm going to use baseball for an example. Bryce Harper signed with the Phillies, right? 13 years, $330 million. Guess what? He's like the 19th highest paid baseball player. He was the highest paid player in baseball for about 6 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody resets the market. But guess who deserves to reset the market? The guys that show up and impact the game, not just on the stat sheet.
Exactly.
Look, Moro Ajomo had a better year last year than Jordan Davis, than Milton Williams had in 2024. Why is that? Look who he plays next to.
Yep.
Oh. Now, the last thing I want to bring up on tonight's episode, like I said, shorter episode tonight, guys. We're just going to keep it short and sweet. Eagles, free agency's a couple weeks away. Next week, we're going to have our Eagles stay or go for the Eagles' current free agents. The following week, we'll probably look at some outside the organization free agents that we could be targeting. And then, of course, the week after that's legal tampering. And by the time we come on that Friday, a lot's going to have happened. So, USA Today brought up a free agent prediction for the Eagles. They are predicting that the Eagles in free agency are going to land, not pursue, land free agent tight end Kyle Pitts.
Wow. After
USA
all
Today put out free agency predictions and has the Eagles landing Kyle Pitts. How would we feel about that?
I'm assuming Kyle Pitts means it's the end of
Oh,
Dallas
yes,
Goddard and Philly.
it's probably going to.
There's a lot to unpack with that. I would think Kyle Pitts would command less money than Dallas Goddard. I think that's safe to say in free agency.
Yeah. He's also younger than Dallas.
He is. Kyle Pitts, I mean, we all remember him playing in college. He was great. He was supposed to be a generational tight end. One of those big guys, plays like a wide receiver, built like a tight end. It didn't always pan out the best for him in Atlanta, and I don't think that was all on him.
Well,
A lot of
here, real
shoddy
quickly,
quarterback play.
before you continue, I'll just point this out. So Pitts in his first year in Atlanta caught 68 balls for 1,026 yards and 1 touchdown. Then he had a really, really bad sophomore year. Now, granted, he only played 10 games. He had 28 receptions for 356 yards and 2 touchdowns. Then followed up the next 2 years with 667 and 602 yards with 7 combined touchdowns. Now, this past year, he did have a career high in receptions with 88. He did eclipse 928 yards and had 5 touchdowns, which was a career high. So he did have a pretty solid year this past year.
With all these changes that are being made in regards to the offensive coaching staff, I don't dislike bringing in Kyle Pitts as a fresh younger tight end who, I love Dallas Goddard. Kyle Pitts is way more athletic than him. Brings more speed. And yet that comment, exactly what I was going to say. Putting him in that loaded offense. I mean, we saw the success that Goddard had last year. Finally a healthy year. We love to see it. But I look at the receiving ability and playmaking ability from Pitts. Goddard didn't have that. Goddard was always sure-handed. He was aggressive. He was tough. But you weren't really getting many yards after the catch with him. He wasn't beating guys. So you have to look at it from a standpoint of it's the end of Dallas Goddard in Philly. I don't think there's a way we can bring him back. Especially finally having a fully healthy season. Had a good year. He's going to get paid by another team. Bring in Pitts. Get him in a new system with an established quarterback.
Fighting Philly makes a good point. They did have Goddard take a pay cut last year. I don't see a scenario where he gets paid here.
Yep.
Not to mention, like you said, he's finally healthy. He cashed in on Kevin Patullo actually having common sense inside the red zone.
Yeah.
And because it's not like he lit the world on fire. He only had like 500 something yards.
Yeah. But no, I do like the prospect of Kyle Pitts coming into this offense.
I'm not opposed. I don't hate it. I'm not opposed to it. So we'll have to wait and see. I mean, legal tampering starts in a few weeks. We got a lot to cover, a lot to go through over the next couple of weeks.
Oh, yeah.
Is there anything else, Mr. Adams, that we would like to cover before we get out of here?
That's about all I got for tonight.
All right, everyone. Big thank you for everyone who joined and tuned into tonight's episode. Got a lot of stuff coming up here on Birds. Of course, next week we're going to do Eagles stay or go. What free agents do we think will be back? Which ones do we think we're going to have to depart with? The following week, we'll be looking at Eagles free agency options outside the organization. And then, of course, the week after that, legal tampering and NFL free agency kicks off. So, guys, thank you for joining us tonight. Hope you guys enjoyed tonight's episode. Have a great weekend. If you are in a state that's going to get hit by this ridiculous storm that's coming in, please stay safe, please stay warm, and please stay indoors if you can, because I wish I could. But Unbiased on Monday, we're going to be talking Eastern Conference for the NBA. A lot to go over. Joel Embiid's missing games with a shin injury now, so my life's also off to a great start. But guys, thank you all for what you say.
I said, what was he doing? Playing soccer?
No, he experienced right shin soreness during his right knee injury management program. I'll let you simmer that in your head for the weekend.
All right, I'm
But
just gonna let
guys,
myself off the show here now.
have a great weekend, guys. Hope you all enjoy. Stay safe, stay warm, and we will talk to you guys on Monday. For Tyler Adams, I'm Sam Nelson. Good night, everybody.
The following has been a presentation of 609 Sports Talk Radio.
Sam, what did you do?